Okay, here we go. We're going to do some more streaming today. So I'm just sharing some of the stuff I'm working on just for fun. You guys can feel free to watch along and share some ideas or ask questions. Please be nice and respectful. And otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to talk through some of this cool, fun stuff that I'm working on. So this first thing is a series of little picture frames that I 3D printed and put little pictures in. I'm going to be making a couple different things out of these. This idea came about. My daughter found this really cute little earring set where somebody had printed some old paintings and put them in little frames and mounted them to earrings. So I realized I had all the tools for that, so I figured I would make my own for fun. These prints are just from regular laser color printing, ordered online, and then I'm laminating them myself by hand with tape. So I'll show you that process. This side's already been laminated. You can see it's quite shiny. But for this kind of thing, I'm laminating actually both sides just to keep it nice and clean, and also to make it somewhat water safe. So all I did was use regular packing tape and very carefully laid it out. Make sure there's no fuzzies or hairs or anything. Pull a little extra so I don't get that fingerprint crap. And then I just press down pretty quickly. Oh, see a little hair. I think it's on the back side. So the key is not to pull too tight, or you'll get that wrinkle. But you do want to keep it firm and firm enough that you can just go like that, and then press down. And I usually use a piece of cardboard like this or something that. Oh, where's my knife? Oh darn! Oh, I have to grab my knife. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. Ignore that. So, yeah, I usually just cut right along it or use a ruler. If you have that little ridge, it's actually not too hard to cut along it like this. But then you end up with a little extra tape. So be careful if you want to get it really clean and smooth. The other thing I do is I press very hard down. You don't really see it on this back side, but on the reverse, on the picture, you'll see that all of that little milky whiteness goes away once you press that laminate down, and over a couple hours or so it'll seep itself in there anyway. But you don't want to get any air bubbles, you don't want to get any wrinkles. I should have done that with a ruler, but anyway, once you cut it off, you just pick it up. Now it's double-sided laminate. Boom, boom. And then all I did was just ruler down it, cut them out, and then lay them in little frames. Just a little drop of crazy glue, and I was done. So just like that, I got my little photos. I didn't want them too thick because the other one that I'm doing here is I glued them in and then double-sided them so that I get these cool little danglies for earrings. And this is PLA from an old MakerBot. Still runs really well. You can see that it's pretty smooth. It's got a lot of little hairs and things, but I'll show you a little trick to clean that up. But it's pretty darn good for this purpose, and it's nice and lightweight, super thin. This was just found on Thingiverse. If you search for Baroque frames, you will find quite a few. There's a couple sets by one artist in particular. I think I don't know if he's recreating them all or scanning them or what, but they're quite well done. A lot of them have open backs though and don't 3D print straight off. So there's a couple like this that were already adapted and set up for 3D printing with solid fills and clean, ready to go prints. So if you look for Baroque frames, some of them say the word fixed afterwards, you'll find something like this. And this one's Got a really nice amount of detail for its size and shape, and printed. This is printed on standard, so the layer thickness is whatever 0.2 on an old MakerBot. It's not super detailed, but laying flat on the bed like that, it's about as sharp as you can get with that kind of printer. And I mean, they could have been done in resin, but this is, you know, a couple of pennies of material, so it's fun and easy and really inexpensive to do. And honestly, once you paint it and fill it in with paint, it's actually super nice. So I'm quite happy with it. So another trick with the painting, I was able to just paint roughly like this. I'll show you how to clean this up. So you don't have to worry too much about how you spill when you're doing this kind of acrylic painting, because when you laminate it like this, acrylic paint is super easy to clean. So all I have to do is lightly scratch like this. And you can see how it comes right off. It just peels right off of something that smooth. So super easy to clean up. So I did not bother to mask or paint it afterwards. I mean, I could have painted it afterwards, but for these I only had single-sided. I wanted to paint the backs. You can see the paint strokes from acrylic. When you're doing acrylic gold especially, you have to really build it up. This is like 3, 4, maybe even 5 coats of paint to get it to be solid. Depending on what kind of style you're looking for, I wanted these to be solid looking and smooth, but if you're trying to do a faux aged look or an antique look, by all means either print or spray paint these in with a primer and a dark color first, either a brown or a black, and then you can dry brush over the high points with gold. This gold paint, it's harder to do, but if you have the Rub and Buff wax stuff that you can get at Michael's craft store, you can generate a really clean looking metallic faux finish. I've got one sample here. So like this is spray painted black and then just dry brushed over with a silver paint, and you can see how it looks like a metallic and almost like a pewter sort of look with silver, and you can get a pretty good antique gold looking gold. They even have copper patina. They have all kinds of different colors in that stuff. It's the brand name is Rub and Buff. But in this case, I just have a simple acrylic paint, so this is just a Liquitex gold, because all of the stores are out of gold spray paint nowadays. Anything close to the holidays, good luck finding yourself gold. But I happen to have that sitting around, so I just went ahead and painted it up. I'm going to do a little bit of touch-ups here and there. And the purpose of these guys, the surprise present, is that I'm going to be making a little tree that's going to have all these kind of dangling off of it. So I'll show how to do that. I'm going to get started on that and just keep recording and try to get as much of that done as I can. All right, that's stuck to that. Let me get rid of that guy and get rid of this dumb looking box here. So the plan is to clear coat these after I clean these up. I'm going to do a little clear coating with just a spray clear coat gloss just to keep it nice and shiny, and then I'll show you how I make some holes and bend some wires, and also the cleanup on this. So to get that cleaned up, what I did was I got one of these 3D oodler, or however you pronounce it, I don't know. But these pens are pretty cool. They allow you to do, it's basically just one of these extruder tips from an FDM printer, and they have a little motor inside that lets you, it grinds a straight piece through. You can cut a roll and stick it in there, but the rounded edges are, it's hard to get a round piece into this. It's not impossible though. I did buy one roll. The one problem is it is the 3mm, not the 1.7 whatever. So you can physically shove a smaller one through, but the difference is this. So these are the 3 mils and these are the standard PLA. So it can be done, but you have to shove it through by hand if you want to do it. But what's really cool about this is if you ever need to repair or clean up the strings off of a 3D print, this is really a secret little amazing tool here. It wasn't even that much. I can't remember how much it cost, but anyway, it heats up like this. When it's ready, it turns blue. It does get super hot on there, so you know, obviously don't set it down on anything, and certainly don't touch the tip. It's very hot. So I'll just scrape some of these off. It's weirdly satisfying to clean these up while I'm waiting for that to heat up. And then we'll get started on the tree. So I am going to be sticking a couple things in the tree. Thinking of doing a nice peacock on top because my wife likes pretty things. I found one that I was trying to 3D print, but it's really got a lot of problems to it, so I realized I'm just making a one-off, so I'm going to just make it and either paint it metallic or possibly electroplate. I have been messing around a lot lately with flash copper electroplating and finally figured out the right way to do it. There's a lot of cool videos online on YouTube about how to do it. If you search electroplating for 3D printing, there's quite a few things, and for whatever reason it only occurred to me just yesterday or today that I don't need to electroplate 3D prints only. I could electroplate, you know, any sculptures that I have too. So especially if I'm doing a one-off and I just want to get it actually copper, it works really well. You do have to spray coat it first with this nickel-based conductive spray, which is pretty darn toxic, and you do not want to do indoors ever, and certainly not anywhere where you're breathing without a mask on, like for real. You gotta use a respirator, you gotta use gloves, you gotta, I mean, if you read the label, you'll see. The water-based one is even worse, apparently. I don't know how. Maybe they're both bad, but dealing with any heavy metals. Oh, somebody says hello. Oh, hello. Click clack. I guess that's the name. Click clack it back. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on the chat. I'm not really much of a chatty person, although I do sit here and talk for an hour. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to get music going at the same time, but I will probably have to just listen and not have it broadcast, obviously. So anyway, I'd like to give credit to the original artist who made this or came up with this little mini frame idea, but I really don't know who the original is. There was somebody on Etsy doing this, but they took down all of their photos once they sold out. So I don't know. Good luck finding it. I couldn't find it again once I saw it, but I had remembered the paintings, and it was pretty easy to find online. This old Van Gogh with the skeleton smoking. It's just a standard old Van Gogh painting. It's just quite fun and nice. One of his earliest stuff. So credit to there, obviously. I'm not reselling these or anything, so I really don't feel bad about doing a little print. But who knows what the rules are these days about making something once you turn it into a thing that you made, and it gets all a little fuzzy at that point. but really you should either be repainting or doing like a cover kind of homage to something. That's, I mean, most of art is that anyway, but yeah, try not to reproduce other people's stuff and sell it. That's just not cool. So I'm making these for a fun gift, a one-off, so I really don't feel bad about it. And these are my photos in this one, so I really don't have any problem with that. But you see it scrapes off really easily. I'm just lightly touching it. This is also not a very sharp tool. It's got a nice clean edge to it. It's rounded and smoothed, so it scrapes nicely without scratching through the laminate. But yeah, cleans up real nice. So those will be ready for spraying soon. So now that this guy's ready, oh, went red again. Yeah, if it's inactive, it just turns itself off. But, ooh, it's pretty hot. I usually have a paper towel handy for wiping the tip off because it gets a little sticky and builds up with a little material. You can see it's not warm enough again. I have to click the button and then wait for it to turn blue again. All right, well, I'll keep clearing these off. It's pretty much done. Ready to go. Okay, it's ready. All right, so the little trick here with cleaning up the strings, I basically just pass the tip over it and grab the strings and pull them off with the tip, and then I wipe it off like that with a paper towel to get the gunk off. And you'd be surprised how quick and easy it is to clean up these little strings this way. They just sort of magnet on and disappear. So like there's a little bit there. So you just press it like that. Boom, gone. You can come at it from the back. And once it starts to build up, just get it and wipe it off. And this is just standard white PLA. Nothing fancy about it. $20 or so a roll for 1 kg. And yeah, this is what, a couple of ounces maybe, if that. No supports needed when printed on its back like that. Just popped it right off the print bed and ready to go basically. Yeah, the little imperfections are kind of okay anyway, really. The paint will hide a lot. I don't like the strings though, so I do get most of those strings off. Yeah, that's basically about it. These things can be used to repair quite a bit. You do want to be careful though, because you start pressing in, and you know it'll heat it up just like it's ready to melt, and it will melt it again. So be careful with those. But yeah, that's about all I did. So I'm gonna turn this back off, unplug it, and I'm gonna leave it somewhere where it would not burn anything. Okay, I'm gonna let these off. All right, I'm gonna switch to the smaller me. Oops. Oh yeah, right. So that's the one I started on the last one. I'm still working on these guys. I've got the couple of repair things going. Stupid thing there. I've got these couple of repair things going. Let's see how it goes in the end. Oh, I lost my little loop. Here we go. But yeah, I'm going to be going through this set. Came out pretty good. Real simple stuff here and there, just reestablishing the shape. And then once it cools after a day or so, you just pop it off like that. Bake it very carefully, and then glue it on, and then I'll just do some paint touch-ups. Right now it's just room temperature clay. But you can see you can join, you can get quite a bit with this clay. It's got a nice thickness to it, holds its shape. Should be good. All right, so you can see where these are going. I'm going to clean those up maybe a little bit later. I'm going to get started on this tree, so I'll show you guys how I get that going. And let's see what happens. Messing around with wire is always fun. Get to build something up pretty quick. Got these screws ready to go. Got this, oh, looks like the wrong size. Darn it. Oh well. Might not be able to screw it in, but we'll see what I can do. Might have to reach over and find something. Got a couple of these bases ready to go. These are just from a dollar store. Pretty easy to find. This is an old one. Looks like I spray painted on it at some point, but it's nice and round and clean. So I'm going to get something going on here where I have wire armature coming up to support the tree and also the bird that I want to put on top. And the rest of it you just build up with clay however you like. So similar to what I did with this one, this is just a one-off clay piece built right onto the same exact wooden base and then baked right on it. Alrighty, let's get going. So what I got is 2 gauges of wire, standard aluminum galvanized wire. You can also use old wire hangers, but those are getting increasingly difficult to find these days. Kind you get from, I used to use the kind you get from a dry cleaner or just standard wire hangers, but I don't even see them in stores anymore. But they were a good, cheap way to get a bunch of wire. But honestly, this is not that expensive. A few dollars, you get a whole roll of this stuff. And the only thing is, it does leave a little bit of residue, even though it's not oiled. It's somehow, I guess, just dealing with metal and from your skin, it just pulls off a little bit. It'll start to blacken. You will see it mess with the clay. So if you do want to be really strict, you could wipe it down. But it really depends. If you're trying to do like flesh-colored clay and not have it get dirty, just make sure you keep cleaning your hands. So I got 2 gauges here. I can't remember what the numbers are. 14 and something, 20, maybe 12. But it's important to have a thick and a thin, so you can do the main part and then either wrap it with thin so that the clay has something to hold on to. Otherwise, clay will just slip and fall right off. Let me get this image off. There we go. And yeah, you can see some of the other stuff up in the corner there. I'm going to try to tilt that down. Alrighty, here we go. There we go. So you don't have to bend it straight. I kind of do it out of habit as I'm pulling it off. Just kind of, it's also good practice. Taking a bent wire and trying to get it as straight as possible. It's good little practice. But if you pull it evenly, you can get it mostly straight and close enough, honestly, for this. I could cut it ahead of time, but I'm not quite sure exactly how long I want it to be, or if I want to double it up. Something that's going to hold a lot of weight to it. You do want to think about how strong the wire is. Now, this may feel pretty firm, but you'd be surprised once you get up a few inches or so. It will want to fall over once you put some clay on it, especially if you're not going to build it up too much with foil. Now, a lot of people will put foil on. I do that when I'm doing something really thick, but in this case, I really don't know how much. I guess I'm going to do a little bit of thickness at the bottom, but the rest of it's going to be so thin that putting foil around it is just going to make the whole thing bulky, and yeah, I don't do that. You really have to kind of think about it ahead of time and do some little math in your head, or at least some visualization of how thick it's going to be, and if it's thicker than an inch, you really should pad it with some foil. But if it's thinner than that, if it's a ½ inch or thinner on any part, don't put tinfoil. You don't need it. It's gonna be really hard to sculpt into, and also it limits you. You don't have the ability to move things around, and everything just gets bulky, especially if you're doing some small form with anatomy, with muscles. You're just going to end up messing it up. All right, let's get this going. So I'm just guessing here roughly. I'm going to twist and turn this a little bit. I also want to have a couple branches, and I'm not really planning this out too much, but I'm thinking of having it twist and then come up and back and down again. Maybe I'll have a core piece. Yeah, that's too much. Let me see. Whatever. I'm just going to pull a bunch off and cut it. This wire is not that big of a deal. I do not have my cutters. As I said before, if you bend this kind of wire back and forth fast enough, it'll really hold it tight. But just bending it back and forth fast enough, you will warm it up and cut it. Don't poke your eyes out. Watch out for this. Watch out for these ends. All right. It looks like a mess right now, but trust me, this will make sense in a minute. Let's see. I want to do some doubling up. It's almost like a little puzzle here. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of doublings like this, and then I'm going to twist them real nice and tight. I think that's about as tall or long as I ever want it to be. I'm going to bend it back and forth a little bit like a bonsai. You don't want any of them to be the same length, so let me do something like that. And it's okay if it gets a little thicker at the trunk, because I want it to be the strongest at the bottom, of course. Leaving enough for a loop for the screw at the bottom. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. That'll look nice. And I can always branch off a little more with the thinner wire as I wrap it around. So let's do something with this last one. And no idea. Yeah, I'll just make an end to it. All right, so now that I have these coming up, I'm going to grab them. Start twisting so that I get a nice solid twist. Twisting it for strength, of course, so that the wire is stronger. Hold more weight. I'm holding it pretty tight as I'm twisting. You want to get that gap out of there. You don't want to have any loosey-goosey wires there. It'll cause you lots of problems when you go to pose it later. So I'm trying to get this really wrapped and tight. I keep bumping these things. All right, there we go. Oh, I'm going to be sculpting a tree that's going to hold up these little picture frames. And I'm going to put a little bird on top. Maybe not so little. So these loops at the end, obviously if I don't want to have a big fat end to these tree branches, I might have to either cut that or just crimp it down really tight. You see that it's a nice tight twist. It gets tighter and tighter as you keep going. I'm going to get most of this going first and then see what it looks like. Watch these things. I can't tell you how many times I pinched myself squeezing wire to bend and twist. This kind's a little bit better because at least you can't pinch yourself in the inside there. Pretty good, pretty good. I can feel it's just already super solid down there. Not bad at all. And this will take a while, but this is going to be worth it in the end because I'm going to have a really nice armature here. It's going to hold up lots and lots of weight. I'm wondering if I should even use one of these to double it up again. No, this is really strong. I'm not too worried about it. I want to be able to support the weight of this bird, but I'm going to probably build that armature out of a smaller wire anyway. So I can just wrap it around, come up, and turn around. Yeah, all right, let's just see what happens here. Still not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might just use this as the base to wrap around and screw the wire into this wooden base with. Now this is where it gets annoying. When you have an end like this, when you try to hold it and twist, you end up just turning it around and around. So you kind of need to hold it at this end first, get a few wraps, and then, you know, see, even there it wants to twist. This kind of plier is probably not the best for it because you see how it slanted. Once you squeeze one wire, the other one falls out. So I probably should have grabbed a few other tools first. Don't think I have any in arm's reach, but normally I'd use another kind of plier, a flat plier, or a vice grips, something with locking. A locking plier allows you to do better twists like this. You can see this is kind of a mess. All right, let me just see if I can hold on to several of these at once. There we go. So I got a nice grip there on it, enough to start this twisting with my fingers. Yeah. You can see it's not as clean as the other one. It's starting to wrap around one wire instead of twisting nicely. So let me see if I can do it from this side now. Does not want to go. No, not too bad. Yeah, having a clamp or some kind of wire on that side, I really should have planned ahead here. But I got what I got in front of me. Yeah, it's no easy trick with your fingers, honestly. See, there it goes. Now it's starting to twist and look like the other one. Not too bad. Alrighty, well, next time I will have all my pliers. Alright, so the ends of these, not too hard. I just want to get them crimped so there's not a big loop here. So I really don't even have to do any other twisting. I'm just going to work my way up it and squeeze it in without pinching myself. So let's see. No, not working for me today. This pliers are the worst. They have no teeth in them. They're really not ideal for this. I might have to pause and come back, but let's see. We're the optimist. I'll try not to give up here. Let's see if I can grab it and bend it another way. There we go. Hey, hey, not so bad. Nope, nope. It's gonna pinch me. I'm just laughing because I know it's coming and I'm trying not to do it. I have better judgment than this, really. All right, I'm going to leave those for now and come back with a proper plier. Okay, so this part here, this is kind of easy and fun. I usually bend a loop of some sort like this, something small enough that the screw can get into without falling out. So you can kind of test it ahead of time. Like this, usually you want a little screw head that's got a little bit of taper to it. You can hold it down. You don't need to tighten it too much, but you do want it to be somewhat tight. And you can even do two like this. Why not? Get two screws in there. Get nice and tight. I think I'm going to have a helper in a second. Let's see. Nope. All right, well. Hey, can you get something for me? I need a pliers. Can you look in the tool rack there? Just any of the silver ones, the big ones, any pliers. Yeah, we'll get this. Bigger ones. Yeah. All right, we'll figure this out eventually. This is a really crappy non-brand name vice grip, but it may work. This one I don't like. It does not clamp well. Tightener is loose. It doesn't line up so well here. Not a huge fan, but it has a flat end. So useful for holding when you need to. Okay, so now this tree, I don't want it to be split right at the bottom, so I'm going to twist these together and then I'll work my way up. So let's see what we can do here. I don't really want to braid them. I'm just going to do like a rope twist. Probably has something to, I'm sure there's a way to do this properly where I go in the same direction that I rotated, which I think I'm doing. It's a very similar method. If you ever see anybody make those wire trees with beads hanging off, it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm just holding them, trying to distribute my fingers between them, so I'm holding them all kind of in the same distance from each other. I'm just twisting my whole hand, holding it tight.
I don't think there's any bigger.
All right, thanks. Okay, I think that's about it. Look at that. Not so bad. And that is strong. There's 6 wires thick. And yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. So strong, in fact, that now I really need to use these to just get this bent in the right place. this end bit. Don't really need that, so I'm probably going to just cut that off because it is not doing me any favors right now. If you can't get enough of a bend back and forth, sometimes you just have to hold it with 2 pliers. Like this, super tight, bend, bend, bend. And boom, broke. Not too bad. Alright, this is looking good. I think I'm gonna go in the center. Can you close the door? I think I'm gonna go. Thanks. From the center, I want to have the trunk kind of spill over, a few roots coming off to the side. Totally not sure yet. Probably should look at some reference at some point. But I'm kind of gonna wing this one. I think I got a good idea in my head. I think it will work, and then just want to kind of see what happens organically anyway. So I'm doing a little pre-bending because I don't want to bend too much once the screws are in, especially on the hardest part, or it will break it. So I want to try to get from the top, I want it to spiral a little bit, just because better weight distribution, and I think it'll be more interesting from all angles. Yeah, ready? That's pretty much where it's going to be. And then the rest can do some things. Let's see. Get a nice little twisty wraparound. Try not to make it look like a person. Kind of ends up doing that anyway. Get these little, looks like a gesture drawing action lines almost. It's not the worst thing. All right, I think we're getting somewhere here. Gonna do a few other branches coming off with the other wires. I'm gonna crimp these down, and then I think I got something pretty good to start. It's the right size. It's about what I wanted. Whatever that is, 8 inches tall. All right, and that is the wrong screw. Give me 1 sec. Yes, hello. Okay. Gonna organize these tools one day. Yes. Hello. Well, not too many options, so I might have to find a different screw. One like that's not too bad. As long as it's got enough bite to it to get into the wood. And as long as I have the right bit. Two like that. This looks pretty good. And I should have a screwdriver handle around here somewhere. But I don't think I have it right here. Let's see. Nope, that's a tiny one. And these are all too small. Well, we're gonna old school it here. Well, you can't find the handle. Ugh, so I hate these. I'm not screwing. The Vice Grip brand locking plier is an excellent one. I do have some around here somewhere. But when you get it adjusted right and you lock it in, not the worst. And this isn't so hard to do, so I'm not too worried about it. Sometimes when you do bend something like this, you want to be able to screw it in. You may have to get your loops a little bit off on purpose so that you can bend it and then stand it back up again. So I'm just doing it like that. Actually, have a smaller bit. Nope. Yeah, I don't think I have it. Not handy anyway. Alright, so do. I'm going a little off center just because that's where these guys are in relation to the main body of the trunk. It's going back and forth a little bit till it bites in. There we go. Not the worst. A little makeshift here, but hey, whatever works, right? It's biting in nicely. So the point of this is it's going to be hidden. It's going to be covered up completely by clay. No one will be the wiser, and it will be nice and strong, built-in furniture. So I'm pushing it a little bit further on purpose. You see I'm biting that right into the wood there. But not too much. I don't want to strip it. That would be the worst thing I could do at this point. But it's working pretty well. I'm all right with that. Well, let's see if I can find it. Gone forever. Oh well. I'll find it eventually, but for now, I've got another one. So yeah, using a screwdriver is probably a better idea here. But I'm already hooked up and don't feel like going to find it. So here we are. Just gotta be careful not to press too hard or I will fling it off again like I just did. Not too bad. All right. So I do have to remember that I do want to hang these little frames off of here, so I have to be somewhat considerate of that. Think about how high this comes up. So now's the time to bend it in place and test a few of those out, see what happens. Let's see if I do something like that. Ugh, I'm really trying to make it not look like a person. Let's see if I keep going, if I keep swirling them though. Let's see if I do more of this. Let them come up and flatten out a little bit. So I'll end up with these little areas. I think that'll do better. So then I can hang these little guys. I don't know if I have enough branches. Let's see. I got 1, 2, 3 of these and 4 of the ovals. So yeah, that is not enough to hang 7, but I could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna have to do something with the thin wire. Alright, well, I may end up stopping this one soon anyway. We're getting close to an hour. And I'll do some more wrapping of the thin wire. Get my branches planned out a little better, get the right tools, and we'll get started on putting some clay on this guy. Yeah, so I think that's about it for now. I'm going to give it a stop, and I'll be back probably later today. We'll see. I'm going to keep this going. I got to get this done. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.